All right, welcome back to Questing for Glory, Hope and Healing 2, still supporting Nami. Remember to get your donations in. We have incentives coming up for Dragon Warrior Randomizer and Beyond the Beyond, plus lots of exciting prizes you can win with just a $5 donation right now. Next up, we have Sharfers with Axe Battler, A Legend of Golden Axe for the Game Gear. So, the donation incentive was met for reading the credits, so the opening and ending. So, go ahead, take it away.
All right, hi. I'm Sharfers. I go by Sharif. That's my name, and I have the excellent J question mark here to help with commentary. This is a hard game.
Hello, thank you so much. Yeah, it's uniquely unpleasant to try to talk about and pay attention to at the same time. Well, not uniquely. That's probably true of a lot of speedruns, but it's mean if you're not paying attention, so it's important to pay attention.
So yeah, this is not an RPG. It's RPG adjacent. It's Golden Axe's answer to Zelda 2, and also Golden Axe's answer to Dragon Warrior. So you'll see this will all make sense in a second. So this is the Scrawling Text. I'm going to read it for you guys in a very dramatic voice, and so we'll understand the lore of this game. It's very important.
Oh yeah.
Long live the Game Gear, and long live the barbarian from Golden Axe. Long, long ago, the gods gave a gift to mortals. This gift was the Golden Axe. Legends say that the world will bow down to whomever takes the axe in hand. Why did they give it to us? Countless battles took place among the mortals to gain possession of the axe. Finally, the king became full of sorrow and hid the axe deep in his castle, where no one could find it. Peace once again returned to the world. After many years had passed and the name of the axe was forgotten, an army of evil warriors destroyed the castle and stole the Golden Axe. The peace-loving king called on a young warrior to regain the axe. In doing so, he entrusted the fate of the world to the warrior. Guided by love and courage, the warrior started on his lonely journey. His name was Battler. So the good news is that we relive that entire scroll in the opening cutscene basically verbatim. So now I get this. I can mash through that text.
Yep.
It was a golden axe. All right. So time starts. Time starts when I hit new game here. So I'm just gonna count. I'll count down from 3 and then just start. All right. 3, 2, 1, go. Crash, thump.
So yeah, we're starting out with I'm gonna put big finger quotes around this cutscene, which is just a black screen of people saying stuff happened. And then we see a soldier chatting with the king. We find out, oh no, the Golden Axe has been stolen by the evil army, I guess. It's hard to say because it was pitch black, so we're assuming it's the evil army. No one else is evil in the entire world.
Evil army.
Yeah, this castle's full of fully armored knights, but we're gonna ring up this dude who wields a sword, has some wings on his helmet, and is just generally otherwise wearing fantasy, like, leather bondage armor, to go do this instead. That's not the last time
Christian axe.
Yeah. I'm sure all of you have already noticed our good friend Axe Battler here exclusively uses a sword. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, there's no upgrades in this game, by the way.
Yeah.
There's no upgrades.
It's just the sword. He learns how to use the sword better.
That's true.
From some guys in some training dojos, but we'll get to that. So we can see, we've already seen the two sort of core elements of this game, which is the random encounters that play out kind of like a fighting game, and then the stages which play out like a dungeon. And it's, I don't know, I think it's really fun. It's a cool way to do the take on Zelda 2, but look better at the same time, because say what you will.
Take. This is a better game than Zelda 2.
So good. Yeah, 100%. At me, please. So yeah, the bridges are guaranteed encounters, but otherwise it is a random encounter encounter setup. So a very significant portion of this run comes down to luck of whether or not you get encounters. Thank you, Shintak. I appreciate that. It comes down to luck of whether or not you get encounters and some planning on your part of whether or not you choose to take a hit. The cool thing is encounters end if you take a single spot of damage. You have those 3 bars that are blue. 1 hit switches it to that orange color, so you can take 6 hits before you're down and out. Yeah, everyone, I see people chatting about the vases. Everyone carries vases, and you get 2 text boxes, which is a lot of where the whole figuring out whether it's a good idea or not to lose a fight comes in, because 2 text boxes happen after every fight where they tell you how many vases you get. Okay, first training, we get to fight an enemy that actually shows up later, so it's really not that special. But it's special now, so...
Every enemy we fight shows up later.
Yeah. There are no one-off enemies, including Death Adder. But they're really just Death Adder Jr. But we'll get to that way later. That's spoilers. I'm sorry. I ruined it.
No dadder.
Yeah. Oh.
So here's the difference. So that's so much faster.
Yeah. Oh man. And not seeing the box after, it's magical. It's so good. So the very first town you go to is the town of Firewood. The castle is also Firewood Castle. So I'm not sure how they're associated directly or why one is behind mountains with a bomb blowing up mountain that you have to get past.
That was a very powerful bomb, by the way. It blew up a whole mountain.
Oh, just gone forever. I especially like when you have the fight right before blowing it up, so you're looking away from the explosion because Axe Battler's a cool guy.
Hey Jay, what are vases? How do they work?
Vases are from the original Axe Battler game. Not Axe Battler, or sorry, not Axe Battler. Golden Axe game, as opposed to the Axe Battler game, which stars Axe Battler. But maybe a different Axe Battler? It's not super clear. It doesn't really matter. I'm just... So the vases are both your currency, which we can see it was 4 vases to stop at this inn, but also your magic power. The Game Gear has 3 buttons, 1, 2, and start, in addition to the D-pad. You cannot pause during combat because it uses your magic, but you can, when not in combat, use the start button to change which magic you're doing, assuming you have enough vases to do it. So magic only comes up 3 times in the whole game.
It causes really intense flashing, so we'll warn when that happens.
Yeah, there's a little bit of flashing before every fight, but someone said, hey, what if during magic the screen flashed the entire time for 5 whole seconds? No one would ever be bothered by that. So that's a thing that happens.
Banshees. The best sound on the Game Gear are these Banshees here.
Oh, they'd scream. Oh, man.
This is the only time we see this enemy, though, for whatever reason.
Yeah. There's a few enemies that only show up in a single spot, like the scorpions later that we don't even go near the same area as them. There's some birds past them, too. But I always forget about the birds. But we'll talk about that when we get there. Also, I see someone in chat said Game Boy just had better games, though, and no. Game Boy's so good. Power Rangers. Let's talk about Sylvan Tale.
Oh, yes.
This? How can you see this and talk about how... Okay, so here we are. We've got some traps and whatnot. Some really obnoxious enemies throwing bombs. And you grab a crystal. So we grab the bomb. The bomb's used to blow up the mountain. Makes sense. The crystal is, of course, used to summon the turtle. As we all know, you summon turtles with crystals. So now that we have that, we can go summon the turtle. That town we were in earlier, where we learned the upper swing attack, there is one of the classic Axe Battler enemies, or Golden Axe enemies. Sorry. For me, this is the game in the series.
This is the Golden Axe. It's the only Golden Axe game I've ever beaten.
There is one of the classic chicken leg axe beak enemies that tells you about the crystal, which is pretty cool. But yeah, we get the crystal, we summon the turtle, and then have to make our way across the turtle because for whatever reason it doesn't finally get where it's going. until you make your way all the way across.
I one-shot these dragons, yes.
Yeah,
They think
dragons,
those are great. I
one
do.
shot, no problem. You don't even need to use your powered up attack. So the upper swing attack, which is the first new attack we learned, because we've learned high jump, which is just the best because now you can actually jump on things. The
It's one
upper
of
swing
the
attack,
actually required upgrades. I think the only required upgrades that you need to have to own to beat the game are high jump and tackle.
yes, but they also are the best powers, hands down. So it's fair. So here we get jump swing, which is of fairly limited usefulness, but is honestly worth it to take the time. But even in an any percent run, it's worth it to take the time. Basically, everyone runs this 100% because any percent is deeply unpleasant, and I'll talk about the
It's
details
really
of
bad.
why later.
It's real bad.
But 100% is the way to go. So we have to get every power, even if we'll never use it, just like the downward stab that we'll get later, which is a very important part of other Golden Axe games speedrunning, because it's super valuable in the beat 'em up. This area here is the Desert of Death, and as you'll see by the time Sharif's done getting through the desert, it's where runs go to die. Not because you're going to die, the enemies aren't that hard, but because the encounter rate is higher than literally anywhere else in the game. The Neo-Amazonians, as we just saw, have really weird hitboxes that change as they attack, so you have to time your attacks with upper swing to hit them properly. It's the worst, but it is what it is, so gotta do what you gotta do. The non-combat skills are essential, because we're seeing high jumps happening in basically every area that we go into. But you guys say something? Sorry.
Oh no, sorry. I was squeaking because I couldn't get that jump and I don't have a lot of health.
Yeah, you're walking the tightrope right here. So down in the pyramid and out the other side of it, there's a couple enemies that are only there, and you don't even see one of them because we just climb up the top of the pyramid and then I guess slide down the other side, probably. Let's say that's what it is. It makes sense. So yeah, we've made it here. We are all the way out to, what's the name of this town? Sandmarrow. No, wait, that's wrong. Sandmarrow is the one in the desert. Southwood.
It's west.
Yeah. it's in the south.
Yeah, we're in the bottom part of the whole map.
Yeah, it's in the south part of the map. I think it's the furthest south town.
Ooh, I do not have a lot of
Yeah. This game, I see someone talking about the excellent soundtrack. It does, and I'm so sorry I'm talking over it. Please go listen to the music or play through the whole game, because it's great. So yeah, after Southwood, we have now got the best attack in the game, hands down. The power swing changes the game. The hitbox is good. The execution doesn't feel weird in my hands, like I wanted to stop playing. Unlike upper swing, which I don't know why upper swing feels so bad.
It's very
really
weird. Yeah, super
this is
swing
the
has the benefit of doing double damage over your regular swing and also having a wider hitbox.
Yep.
That's the huge thing.
It's good stuff.
Hey, can I jump in with a few donations here?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, so we have $50 from Jolly Green Ray. Bid for Austere Start. For the love of the game, and because I always took Yeti with me to the final battle as a kid. We have a $26 donation from Andy Jean. No comment, thank you. And we have a 1K donation from Miles Foxling, which has met several of the incentives for Dragon Warrior Randomizer. So thank you so much for all those donations.
That's awesome. Okay, so we are now in the cave. The cave is like neon pink and sickly green and like a weird dark green. It's an unpleasant place.
Oh, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, that's a.
Actually, I might just die right here. Yep.
Yeah, it's probably.
The only problem with dying here is that I have to regrind for vases, because this is one of the 2 times we actually use magic.
Yeah, there's a section right near the end of this where vases are so much better and so much faster that it's worth the time it takes to grind them, even after a death. More than any of the areas prior to this, the traps are very frustrating with the timing in that cave. It's mean. Well, I guess that's not entirely true because there's the final castle, but
Final Castle is a whole different thing. It could be its own video game. I think this
yeah, the cave is for me at least one of my spots where I am likely to die.
Bad Bra is a bad translation of Bad Brother of all
Yeah.
things.
They're so good, but like everyone else in their weird fantasy leather bondage armor. So it is, if you look at the leather straps they have going across, that's arguably a bad bra.
It would be a bad bra. It doesn't really support a
Doesn't
lot.
do anything. Yeah.
This is literally a Golden Axe prequel, correct? And it stars the Barbarian from Golden Axe.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's try this again, huh?
All right, so back into the cave. We've got skulls that come bouncing down. We've got the spiders that. It occurs to me, basically every area in this game has some unique enemies.
Yeah, the spiders are the unique enemies. I guess these fish too. But here's what the fish.
No, they're on the turtle, I think.
Oh, you're right. They are on the turtle.
They're jerks there too. Everything in this is just spaced perfectly to make it annoying.
This has gone much better this time. I was already had 1 health by this jump here.
So yeah, the arrows. I love how slow arrows fly in this.
I don't understand the aerodynamics of those arrows.
Well, in a world where the most powerful weapon, the most incredible magical artifact is a golden axe, and everyone uses swords, I mean, of course, arrows are powerless. There's no point to arrows.
All right, this is the first flashing lights warning. I apologize for this. This should be the only one. It's quite rough though. Get hit.
Yeah, it's brutal. The flashing lights in this are very intense, and it's a shame because it's such a fun game, but that is rough. So now we're all the way clear of the cave, and we have to walk to the next town, which is Brook Hill, which has the most town-like name out of any of the towns in this. At least I think so. But
Southwood?
Southwood, you got Sandmarrow, Turtle Village, Firewood Village, North Valley. You know, Brook Hill. I can see myself going there.
You guys ready to see Master Chief?
I always forget that, and then someone points it out. Master Chief version 1 is the best because he will never attack you unless you walk into his sword. He's very polite.
He walks up to you slowly and then just whiffs.
He also gives you what is arguably the coolest ability in the game, because as great as Super Swing is, you have iframes during tackle. And it's a speedrun and you can dash now, which is also great. Even though there's really not a lot of spots where dashing saves you enough time to be worth it. It usually just runs you right into an enemy's face.
Yeah, but running is very nice.
So this town, there was that soldier that we talked to standing in the middle of the town who gives you a compass. This is the second time there's an item that is essential to get through a dungeon. The cave that we just went through is polite enough to have a gate in the beginning that you just can't get past if you don't have the key from the top of the pyramid. So it's, you get there, you turn around and leave, it's fine. The next area, the forest, which is also so very mean, if you go in without the compass, you start right on the bridge outside the forest again. And
you go through the whole thing and then just come out the other side. This is actually where I quit as a kid. I got through the forest for the first time and I was celebrating. I'm like, wait, that sent me nowhere. And then I picked it up 15 years later to beat the game.
Yeah, it's so mean. Yeah, there are so many things in this game that are so mean. It's one of those, like, when you're a kid and you own 3 Game Gear games, and those are the most of your video games, and so all you gotta do is play until you figure them out. And that's why I love Axe Battler. I'm forever haunted by it. I mean, love it. I forever love it.
Yeah, we both grew up with this game. That's the only reason we run this. Is we both grew up with it.
Yeah, it doesn't feel, as much as I love it, and I would like to convince more people to play it, it doesn't feel like it's the kind of thing that everyone's going to be like, oh yeah, it's really cool, I want to play that.
I can't really, in good conscience, recommend this game. I mean, casually, if you like a challenge, then maybe.
The speed run's a lot of fun. And I don't think I've talked about how the game is consistent. So there's the random encounters, which are unpleasant. But once you get into a fight, the enemy behavior, and in dungeons as well, the enemy behavior is 100% consistent. So if you can position yourself properly, you can always do it right, which I think is pretty cool. All right, so here we're going to grab some fruit from a lone tree.
Where is it?
You know, I'm curious how I figured out how to do this as a kid. I feel like someone in town tells you.
Yes,
but
they do.
It's still one of those, like, there's all these trees. I get that it's some good level design. It's fairly clear, but oh, man. So here, if possible, yeah, a death abuse is ideal because it helps you avoid the whole forest and walking all the way back.
So all death does is it warps you back to the last town you're in and takes away all your bases. That's all it does.
With the exception of the Japanese version.
Oh god, it's so bad.
Final town.
Ugh, I found that out for the first time recently.
Oh, did you?
Don't run Japanese if you're running 100%. It's not worth it.
Yeah, Japanese is great for any percent. But if you die, especially, oh man, now I'm just thinking like for a marathon. If you die without visiting the password house in the final town, it sends you back to the previous town. And it's so mean. It's just sick.
I actually died on that Death Adder. I was doing 100% runs on Japanese just to see how much faster it was, and I died on that Death Adder that you for jump swing or for jump attack, and it sent me back to the town before, and I was absolutely baffled.
Oh, it does that from the training house?
Yeah, you can die in the training house.
I didn't even think about that. Oh.
The Death Adder doesn't one-shot you. I just only had 1 health left.
Right, but the fact that you're in town and it sends you to the prior town if you haven't gone to the password hut. Oof. But you know, it's axe battling.
We're talking about the Japanese version because after every encounter, there's only 1 text box instead of 2, and it saves oodles and oodles and oodles of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the English version is great, and having the opening text scroll be readable is wonderful, but getting rid of 1 out of every 2 text boxes, that's the speedrunner's dream right there. So here we are, we're climbing up this mountain. It has all sorts of fun, annoying things like falling rocks, the first place that you have to use tackle, and at the very top is where that fruit we obtained from the tree becomes a requirement. Because if you get to the top of this without the fruit, you just walk off the edge of the screen and you're back at the base of the mountain again. But when you have fruit, an eagle comes to get you, and the eagle puts you, of course, on the back of an even larger eagle. Which is where eagles normally take you when you give them the fruit. Or so I've been told. We just have crows around here. Yeah. We'll get to see this nice giant eagle's head. Unlike the turtle, we don't get to see the turtle's head, which I think
that's unfortunate.
And the eagle, I guess, has already been docked the whole time, but it's super windy here at the dock. Now I'm just thinking about like the physical design of what that was, and I don't know what's going on. But it's a fun stage. The shifting wind makes it interesting to try to navigate. So now we are in the final overworld segment, which is great. But this segment also has, unsurprisingly, it stresses me out so bad every time you do that. I just want to, because it's coming down right on your noggin. The timing has to be so perfect.
Hey, you do the thing where you get out of the way a little bit?
Yeah, I take a step back. I can't emotionally handle what you're doing. I'm looking away.
As long as I don't get a dadder here, I'm happy.
Yeah. So this area is where the Death Adder Juniors, as the Japanese version correctly lists them, or honestly, I mean, they just absolutely murder you. So they might as well just be Death Adder coming for you over and over.
Yep.
The thing about this one, and this is part of the reason 100% is the only sane category in this game, is if a Death Adder touches you or hits you with an attack, it does all of your health and damage and sends you back to the last town. That's not as big of a deal once you get to this first town. But in the any percent run, you never go to the town in this final overworld segment. So it is very, very important that you never die to Death Adders. So here we are in town. Now this town is the place we'll return to if something goes terribly wrong. And because it's 100%, you also grab, after this training, for a skill that we're probably not going to see.
I might show it off if I have time.
You gonna go for it?
Like after a battle or something.
Yeah, that would actually be a great time for it, rather than in a battle. Because then you just get hit every time.
Oh yeah, I could never use it, like, actually. There's a lot of text boxes explaining what it is. It's Link's down stab, but it's completely useless.
Yeah. It also appears in Golden Axe.
It does appear in Golden Axe.
Hard to use in that, too. But
it's really awkward.
It does tremendous amounts of damage in that one. Here, it just kind of sets you up to get hit. I wonder if it's meant for the snakes that we use magic on.
I think so.
Feel like that's got.
But every time I do it, I just fall short. Oh no, I'm not going to
So the item that we're obtaining here, there is a polite old man in the final town of Northwood that tells us about it. Is a magic amulet. It makes it so that when you get hit by Death Adder, it's not an instant kill. This is not a good example of how it works because Sharif only had
one health. That was intentional. That was a death warp.
Yeah, no, that was a great time to do a death warp. But the comedy of that being the very next fight after you got the thing that makes that not an instant kill, but you die in it. It's really good.
This Death Adder shred I do with the super swing is almost too risky to be doing, but I just do them anyway.
Because if he takes a swing, it's gonna hit you.
Yeah. You just can't hit me.
Unlike the polite knight, he will just knock your socks off. Yeah, the Neo Knights. So the Knights are so nice, and the Neo Knights are just the worst. You'll notice Sharif waits until... No, you're doing it the same way that I have found works, is you wait till he starts going backwards, because otherwise he's gonna take a swing and hit you.
This is the only enemy that I can't kill by swinging at him. I've never figured out how to kill him once. I've never hit him other than...
I don't think I've ever even tried to fight one with that tackle. Now I'll have to play around with that later. That's a thought. Theoretically, it's possible, probably.
I can't imagine it isn't, but I've never figured out a way to do it.
Yeah.
And I've put like a non-trivial amount of time into it. I flipped, that's what you're gonna get. Let's go.
Yeah, oh yeah. I'm just gonna be quiet for a second so we can enjoy this music. Okay, so we've had a few seconds of music, and now we've seen the very thing. Oh yeah, very shortly.
Right.
I'll let you announce it.
There's one more later on in this terrible waterfall stage, like section.
Yeah, so the waterfall's great because if you fall, it's instant death. That section right before the waterfall with the snow avalanche is also instant death if you fall. After the waterfall is a section with snow that's not instant death if you fall, but honestly, you wish it was.
Yes, exactly. But it does have a moonwalking pikeman, so
it does, and you can recover from it.
But that was the last use of magic in the whole game, so we're safe in terms of flashing lights. It's over.
Yep. Sorry, everyone. So this segment is this huge, long. It's overworld segment, then the stage, then another overworld segment, then the final stage. So the game gets meaner as it goes on, but in a nice progressive way. It never really just suddenly jumps up. It keeps building up what you've got to get through. So, quick little overworld segment. If we're lucky, no more encounters. If there are any more encounters, maybe it'll just be Neo-Barbarians. I hope.
Neoska.
No. Alright. Yeah, Neoska.
There's your down stab. I did manage to show it up right
Nice. It looks so cool.
It's
Such a useless attack.
extremely useless. It's so hard to use properly. Like, you're supposed to use it where I use that magic, but if you mess that up, you just fall and die. And so the downside is not worth the 3 seconds it saves or whatever.
Yeah. So we're coming up on the final castle. The final castle is nice in that there is no instant death pits. That's pretty cool. But every floor is made of spikes all the time.
Also, it's an invisible door maze.
Yep. Yeah, you got to know where the door is that takes you to the next section. And there are sections with invisible doors that will appear to try to.
Everything's fine. Everything's fine.
Oh,
Everything's
yeah,
fine.
it's back. Yeah, I don't think there is anything to do if you miss it.
You just wait.
Yeah, the nice thing is, whatever brilliant engineer built this castle with all the evil spikes jutting out of the floors all the time, also left space on the edge of every platform for you to just stand on safely. So, props to them for not being truly horrible monsters working for the evil bad guy. So yeah, is it just me, or do these things... I'm sure it's meant to be a button, but it looks like they have faces on those spiked platforms. Yeah, they do. Yeah, and then there's the cloud. The cloud is rough, because there are these slow-moving arrows coming at you. You have to be spaced just right, otherwise you absolutely take a hit, and then potentially fall back to the start of the stage. Sharif's strategy is very good for it because it doesn't involve taking a hit at all. It's also possible to do with an intentional hit, but it's a lot more risky, so not recommended for obvious reasons. So we are slowly coming towards the final section of this cool stage. This waterfall segment is super mean because it has the ability. I think it's just the one, but it can appear anywhere along the bottom. There's a mirror that tries to capture you and send you back. And here is one of 2 skips in the game with the jumping through floors. There was one earlier in the mountain as well, but it's not. It looks like it's allowed in the mountain. Here, it's clearly not intended to be allowed. How did that miss?
Upper swing, man. Upper swing.
Yeah, upper swing to...
Alright, we're right at the end of the dungeon here. Time for the final boss.
Yep. Very close. Very close.
Don't die here. We're gonna wait 1 extra cycle.
Yeah, definitely worth taking
All
it
right.
slow. Slow and safe here.
Psych, that's time. Where am I? Ha ha ha, Axe Battler. I'll give you credit for coming this far. Who are you fiend? Come out. From where you are hiding. Do you still think you can fight me? Who's talking? I don't know who's talking. What do you think you can do when you're all worn out with wounds
It's got to be
all
deadly.
over your body? They're talking to each other, but there's no indication of who's talking. I'm prepared to fight. I'll continue to fight for the love and courage of humankind. You impudent chump. Die, Axe Battler. That's the second use of chump. Ah, in one amazing swing, Axe Battler cut the darkness in 2. Arg, Axe Battler, you scoundrel. I'll get revenge for this. Arg. And that's the game.
It starts as it begins with a bunch of text on a basically black screen.
Yeah, one thing I failed to mention is the at the dojos, your trainer, he's very mean to you.
Oh yeah.
If you say no, if you're not ready to train, he calls you a wimp, and if you actually get hit by one of those enemies that you train on, he calls you a worthless chump.
It's so good.
Oh yeah, there's no boss. That's the end of the video game.
Yep. Fake out.
Also, this is actually the best music in the game, but it's after the game, so I don't count it.
That's fair. Yeah, it's so good. And you also get the cool axe battler on the eagle. I like to imagine there's a slightly more advanced version of this game that never happened, where there's actually a boat and the eagle, and you can move around the world map for no particular reason on them.
I love that. Like, kind of like the Enterprise or something.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, that is cool. Oh, man. Yeah, that's a unique sprite. You never see that anywhere else.
Yeah, just here for the super cool ending. But you get the coolest sprite and the coolest music. It's great.
I love this game. I love the Game Gear. I love this game. Thanks for having me. Thanks for joining me on commentary, Jay. That was it's always a pleasure to run this with you.
I really appreciate it. I say it every time. I love talking about this game and watching you play this game and not having to play it myself and it getting shown off in marathons. So it's the best of all worlds. I get to hang out with you for a bit and see a game I really love.
Yeah, this game is, I love it, and we have like a lot of very like deep-seated nostalgia for it. I don't know if I can, in good conscience, really recommend it, but give it a shot.
I'll recommend it. I'm a monster. Please go play this game. It's so fun.
Give it a shot, and if you have questions, ask us. Like, we're happy to answer any questions you have. It's very good. Also, yeah, we hit $12,000 for Nami, and that's great.
Oh, awesome.
It's always been. I've been very fortunate in my speedrunning career to participate in a lot of great marathons, but being able to run in for Nami and on the RPG Limit Break channel is a really big deal for me. So thank you guys for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for letting me show up and talk about this. Real quick, shoutouts to PP Chung, also known as Psychedelic Chung, for the sound for this game. Because while it may not be good to recommend playing this game, you should listen to the soundtrack. It's beautiful.
Very, very good game. So yeah, that's gonna be it from me. But thanks for having me, and thanks for letting me dramatically read the beginning and end of the game.
All right, GG. Thank you for the great run. Very entertaining. Good to see it. We did get a bunch of donations in. We got $60 from RyGuy3745 with no comment. We got $10 from Norestra in honor of OPT lawyer who lost his battle with cancer last week. His favorite organization to support was NAMI, and I couldn't think of a better way to honor his memory. We got $8 from MS Kane saying, "Evil, meet my sword. Sword, meet evil." We got $50 from CyberDark86. Thank you for that. And we got $500 from Volshock Sorcerer saying, "Owed a matching donation from last night's Lost Odyssey run, but figured I'd bump it up a bit. Let's get those Beyond the Beyond incentives met." Thank you so much. And that's going to do it for me as well. Really enjoyed this. Next up is going to be Dragon Warrior Randomizer, so look forward to that. And yeah, stay tuned.